Okay, today's the coal test. I couldn't resist. I had to. Well, I had the configuration set up before I broke it down. I had to try it out with coal, and everything's going really, really well. Somebody in the comments said they're worried about or don't want any smoke because of neighbors, or, you know, because there's certain issues in the EU, or you can't even have a stove. Anthracite, you know, there's just nothing. You won't see any smoke once the coal gets hot. I mean, once you wood, you get a little bit, but eventually it goes 90% smokeless. But once you get the coal going, you know, you can go 15 hours or just keep it going. But we have some work to do in terms of making this a coal stove, because we have to figure out a grate, a shaker grate. A stove's useless, a coal stove's useless without a shaker grate. And that flame is all from coal. There's no wood really producing flame, so it's lighting as good as it can be. In other words, with coal, you know, I have a lot of air there, but my only issue, I wasn't positive, would, you know, the fact that the air, the draft is blocked by the top of the barrel, and then it has to come down here and then go back up and out. I didn't think that would make a difference for coal, but I couldn't recommend this, you know, as a coal stove for anybody until I tested it, and it certainly doesn't. It doesn't change the draft much. There's plenty of draft for coal. Let's take a look. Hopefully the coal I have in there is just 2 of these small buckets, less that amount, so it's really not that much coal. Maybe a 4-inch bed. But it's time to really knock it down in this test. Really close off air and see how long we can get it to burn. I mean, so much air gets in, I'm basically going to shut it off. That's it. Now, it's open a bit at the top. The bricks aren't mortared, so that, well, I don't want to go. Let's just go with that. See what happens. Come out here in an hour, see how we're doing. Okay, about an hour later, it looks like I closed it completely off, but there's so much gap around the top, and again, it's getting, you'll see when I open up, it's almost getting too much air. It looks like it's closed off from there, but it's, you know, a bent piece of metal. It's just, you know, it's just raging. It's getting a ton of air. Too much. It's going to go down too much, too quickly. The bed's only, I don't know, 4-inch bed. It's not much. 225, 240, 280, 340 at the top of the barrel, 360. Around this side, it's a little bit more blocked over there, 340. Around this side, 368. Okay, so, you know, if you had a 10-inch or 12-inch bed of coal, the top of the barrel would be just over 400 or so. For the person that commented they're looking for no smoke, coal is the way to go. Quick note I'm inserting right here. As the video goes on, I'm breaking it down. So don't be confused when the small chimney stack gets smaller. The tests are done. I'm breaking it down and restacking my bricks. The small chimney stack should go not to the very top of the barrel. I left about 4.5 to 5 inches. I left a little bit more space than you would typically leave with a rocket stove, which is 1.5 to 2 inches. Didn't want to choke it off. But the small chimney gets smaller because I'm breaking it down and putting the bricks away. Okay, let me show you what I did here to make the regular chimney stack go from 6 bricks. I cannot see what I'm filming. There you go, to 4 bricks. And really doesn't slow down the draft. Sometimes when you make it thinner, it actually speeds up the draft. I didn't use any, the reason I'll show this to you, I didn't use any lintels, or you don't need any sort of supports. It just supports itself if you don't go up super high. The top chimney has to get smaller because the barrel needs to fit over it. Seems like the barrel would fit even over top of this, but there's no chance. It's actually even tight on this. So the exit of the gases is just 1/2 fire brick, and no problem for my wood test or the coal test. There's plenty of. I would never go any smaller than this on a full-size stove for venting, but this is fine. 1/2 fire brick. Okay, here's the start of the mini chimney that went up into the barrel. We'll see what I did here. I don't even know. So I'll just throw these down. We'll take a look. Let's see. I used 1/2 here. These are probably just filler bricks on the side. They don't do anything. Just so there's not another shelf. So used 1/2 here. See what happens when this comes out. Used 1/2, and then this one probably just bridges across. Yeah, it just bridges across. And if you have one bridged across, and you put then another one, a weight on this, it's going to hold. And then as long as you stagger, it'll hold up. You don't need to use any sort of angle irons or lintels. To start the mini chimney, I just did this, which is the same as the baffle system in the coal stove, chimney stove. This is the same as a baffle. Just butted these two together, and the tension holds it fine as long as there's bricks on top to hold it. Obviously, if you're making this for your home or something, you just little refractory cement, butter each one, press them together, and you can keep going up in rows. It's not going to go anywhere even without the mortar. I'm almost done breaking down the coal chimney stove. I just want to show you guys how clean the inside got from the heat of that coal. I mean, of course it was all black. It was all black. Look at that. Look how clean everything got from that heat. You can learn a lesson about stove glass. If your stove glass will eventually get into is in a part of a stove where it gets super hot, as black as it gets, it will clean up. But if it's outside of a part of your stove that it's either not air washed, or it's not going to get super hot, you have like somebody decide to put a piece of glass or a glass window 3 or 4 feet higher, it would just blacken up and stay black. I want to show you how the hardware cloth held up from the stove test. It held up really, really good. I saw one break in the mesh. It's hardware cloth, you get in the gardening section from Home Depot and Lowe's. I guess I've used this for at least 10 wood tests, but I guess it was a total of 4 coal tests, and one of the coal tests was really severe. I mean, basically overfiring the coal with way too much air, way too much heat. Stainless steel. I mean, I'm certainly not recommending this. You use this if you're building a permanent stove. It's great for tests. Stainless steel, I think, goes to 2,700 degrees. So for testing, this is great stuff. Okay, guys, I'll just loop this video of the wood fire for 30 seconds to conclude. This is when you'd add your coal. Once you get a good wood fire going, you'd start adding your coal shovel by shovel. Everything so far has worked great. It worked great with coal. It worked great with coal when it was just a chimney with the baffles. It worked great with coal with the barrel. It worked great with wood. It's small. It's easy to build. However, as great as everything's been, a coal stove is useless unless you can get a shaker grate and can keep a coal fire going for 7, 10 days, 2 weeks by just shaking and adding more, shaking and adding more. I think the shaker grate, I'm going to put these big skewers across and rebar. I'm going to have to continue the test I'm gonna have to try it. I think it'll work with flossing. You know, you scrape at the bottom, but that's got to be the next and final test. Everything's been great, but if a coal stove, you can't shake it and add more, then it's useless. Thanks for being here.